Okay, so we're going to be going over number 2 from last night's homework. It is the problem with a snowstorm. So it says during a 9-hour snowstorm, it snows at a rate of 1 inch per hour for the first 2 hours, at a rate of 2 inches per hour for the next 6 hours, and at a rate of 1 inch per hour for the final hour. Okay, so we're going to write a piecewise function for this. Okay, so we are going to have f of x is equal to, looks like we have 3 different functions to look at. So my first rate is 1 inch of snow per hour for the first 2 hours. So that means between the hours of 0 and up to 2, the first 2 hours, it's going to have 1 inch per hour. So I'm going to write 1x. You could also just have x if you want to. Okay. It's going to be a rate of 2 inches per hour for the next 6 hours. So that means from hour 2 until 6 hours later, which is going to be 8, up to hour 8. So this is the time frame of the next 6 hours. It is going to rain 2 inches per hour. I'm sorry, it's going to snow. So what's going to happen is I can't just write 2x right here, because I need to build on top of what's already happening, because this problem represents accumulation, which means the snow is building on top of itself. So in the first 2 hours, I already got 2 inches of snow. Okay, so I'm going to add on top of that my new rate of 2 inches per snow. But remember, that's only for the hours past the 2-hour mark. So we have to subtract the first 2 hours away, because I'm already representing them with this 2. Remember, I got this from taking 2 and plugging it into my first function. Okay, our last one says the rate is 1 inch per hour for the final hour. So that means there's just 1 hour left. So between the hours of 8 and 9, which again makes sense because in the very beginning it told me during a 9-hour snowstorm. So I knew I was going to go up to 9 and then stop. My rate is 1 inch per hour. Again, I'm not going to write just 1x because I have to build on top of what's already happened. Okay? To know what's already happened, I need to plug 8 into this equation. Okay? 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So up to this point, I have had 14 inches of snow. Okay? I'm going to add to that the 1 inch of snow for all the hours that are past hour 8. So I have to subtract the 8 hours that have already gone by. I have them in here with the 14. So all the hours past 8 get only 1 inch of snow. All right? Now we're going to create our graph. Okay? I'm going to have my x's. I'm going to skip every other line and mark it 1, 2, 4. We also need to make sure we label this axis. So our x's is our domains. Remember that was the hours in the snowstorm. So we can call this time, or you could say hours. Okay. My y's, I'm just going to go up every one. So I'm going to label it every other. So this is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and then 20. Remember, this is going to be our inches of snow. Okay. The first thing we need to graph on here are my fences. My fences are going to be at 2. They're going to be at 8. And we're going to stop at 9. Okay. So I'm going to get my dotted line going. Here's our first fence at 2. Okay. Kind of hard to see. It's better. Our second fence is at 8. And then our last fence is going to be at 9. Okay, because that's when the snowstorm is going to stop. All right, so now let's graph our different pieces. Okay, so we need to plug in these values into my function to get our graph. So I'm going to have an open circle right? We're going to have an open circle when you plug 0 into here. So we're going to have an open point. At the point, I plug in x of 0, and I got 0 out of it. So that's where this one comes from. Okay. Then when I plug 2 into that, since it's equal to, that's going to be closed. I plug in 2, I get out of it 2, because 2 times 1 is 2. So 2, 2, that is closed, and we will connect. You could have also done the slope of 1. Okay, so up 1 over 1 technically is right here. Up 1, because we did every other mark on the bottom. Okay. My next segment, because this is accumulating, it should begin at the value of 2 also, but it's always a good idea to plug them back in and check just to make sure. So here I'm going to plug 2 into this function. So when I plug 2 in, 2 minus 2 is 0, times 2 is 0, plus 2 is 2. So we do start at 2, 2, which is what we expected. Then where it's going to finish on this fence, we're going to plug in 8. Okay, so we're going to end at a closed point. We're going to plug in the number 8. 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. So here is 14, and it will be closed as well. All right, I'm going to connect these. I'm going to use a ruler. Okay. Our slope for this would have been 2, right? Because it was 2 inches per hour. So we could have gone up to, what are we doing? Yeah, up 2 over 1. Remember, 2 spots down here is only 1 hour. So up 2 over 1. If you're going to use slope, you got to make sure you understand how you labeled your axes. Okay, last one. Again, we should start at 14 by plugging 8 into here. 8 minus 8 is 0, plus times 1 is 0, plus 14 is going to be 14. So we are going to start at 8:14 as expected. We're going to finish with the closed point. When I plug 9 into my function, 9 minus 8 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 plus 14 is 15. So 15 and 9 is right here, right? There's 15. And we're going to do our slope. I'm going to use my ruler. And that's how our snowstorm is going to finish. Okay? The reason why I don't have an arrow is because it said it was a 9-hour snowstorm. To put an arrow means it's going to go on forever. Okay? All right, now we have to answer a question. How much snow is there on the ground after 7 hours? I'm going to find 7. Come up here. So there is 12 inches of snow after 7 hours. Or you could use your functions. 7 was in between 2 and 8, so you could use this function to solve. 7 minus 2 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. So either way, if you use the function or if you use the graph, you're going to get 12 total inches of snow. So after 7 hours, there is 12 inches of snow. Okay. If I had asked you how much snow fell on hour 7, that's when you would look at your rate. So during hour 7, 2 inches of snow fell because that was the slope. But up to hour 7, the total is 12 inches. Okay. So I hope this explains number 2. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me because you will definitely need to know this for your quiz and your test and your midterm coming up. Okay?